Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. So, today we will be talking about mastering wealth protection. Okay, so let me share the live here. Those of you, as I share the live, those of you watching live, go ahead and type in live. Where are you watching from? Okay, what state are you watching from? Those of you watching the replay, go ahead and type in replay. So I'm about to share this on many different groups that I'm in. Okay, so as I'm sharing, type in live. If you're watching the replay, you already know the deal. If you type in replay, it helps the algorithm show it to more people. And so we're able to impact more lives. Okay, the more people that get this information, the more impact we create in the community. Because at the end of the day, why do we care so much about the community? It's not just about us, it's about our children and our grandchildren and the people that are going to inherit our community into the future when we are no longer around. Okay. And so today I wanted to do this live because I always talk about why am I doing this live. Okay. And so the other day I had posted, I think it's been like 3 weeks. I posted that I created my first Creole video on TikTok, right? And one of the young ladies said, you need to talk, you need to teach the people about estate planning. Okay. And yes, she's absolutely right. I actually have a Haitian estate planning attorney that I want to bring on as a guest speaker. And so I contacted her this week. We're going to put everything together. So my goal is to have her as a guest speaker. But why did she make that comment? She made that comment because at the end of the day, yes, we are living in an era where the community is conscious, right? When I say the community, I'm talking about minorities, African Americans, Haitians, Caribbeans, right? We're conscious about the building wealth, the active efforts of building wealth. As a matter of fact, during Art Basel weekend in Miami, I actually went to a JP Morgan event. I'm talking about the advancement of Black wealth. It was called the Black Wealth Tour. Okay. I was able to meet some really powerful people in the community. And so we understand, the importance of building wealth, right? The importance of financial literacy, the importance of changing our views, changing our ways of handling money, managing money, and the ways that we grow our money, right? But sometimes we get caught up in growing our money that we forget to also protect our money. Okay. And so today's live is going to be discussing mastering wealth protection, how to protect your wealth. Okay. So those of you just joining us, again, go ahead and type in live. If you're watching live, what city are you from? I am here from Plantation, Florida, right? Those of you who don't know where that is, right? I'm very close to Fort Lauderdale. As a matter of fact, my zip code could be considered Fort Lauderdale. Okay. So Fort Lauderdale is about 30 minutes away from Miami without traffic, more like 90 minutes with traffic, sometimes even 2 hours. Okay. So as you all are trickling in, hi Omi Yemi, hi Queen, hi Ashanti, live from Chicago, Omi Yemi, live from Jacksonville. Okay. Now, those of you, if this is your first time joining me on a live, right, you're like, who is this young lady with the crazy earrings, right, and the crazy jewelry? My name is Katiana Kare. I am a certified money coach and investment strategist, right? I help women like yourself maximize your money and diversify your portfolio, diversify your investments, okay? Now, what makes me qualified to be here to talk to you about all this stuff, right? I actually, not only am I a certified money coach, I hold my licenses, my professional licenses, and I also hold, hello, Sansan. I also hold my master's in finance, okay? And so the reason why I created this platform is because although I spent $60,000 on my master's in finance, right? I wanted to bring this education to you and show you that, hey, you don't need to go spend $60,000 on a master's in finance. Like, like I did, right? And it's not just the 60,000, guys. That was just the monetary payment, right? Talk about, getting in group, doing group projects, right? Studying for tests, right? You're having to show up to class, right? You don't have to do all of that in order to learn how to manage your money. You don't have to do all of that in order to learn how to grow your wealth. IT Sul, oh, hey, everybody, right? You don't need to know all that. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that intimidate you about the finance world are a lot easier than you might think. And so my goal is to demystify the world of personal finance, demystify the world of investing so that you have the clarity and you have the confidence, okay? So for example, I had a young lady get on a call with me last week, and we literally, she says, Kat, I got on this call with you because I don't know how to invest, okay? And I don't know how to get started. Type in a one in the chat if you've ever thought to yourself, or if you still think to yourself, I don't know how to get started, okay? Type in a one in the chat if that's you. I don't know how to get started. One of the most asked questions, one of the most comments that I get is, I don't know how to get started. And so I always tell all my clients, the end is the beginning. I'm going to repeat that. Those of you taking notes, right? The end is the beginning. How do you get started? You have to determine the end goal. If I'm going to tell you, hey, Tisul, hey, Sansan, hey, Omiyemi, we're all going on a girls trip and we're headed to Uganda and we're going to look at this farm, right? Because we want to supply strawberries to local hotels in Uganda. We're going to go check out this farm. Meet me in Uganda. Okay. Are we going to actually know exactly where to meet? Absolutely not. We know that we're all going to Uganda, right? We know that we're headed to East Africa somewhere, and we know that we're headed on a farm, but we don't know what hotel, we don't know what airport, right? Type in the three if you're with me, right? And so at the end of the day, in order for you to know exactly where you're headed, you need an address. So this is the same exact thing for your investments. If you want to know how to get started, how do I know what airport to go to in order to head to Uganda? I need to know where I'm going. Where exactly in Uganda am I going? What city? What is the closest airport to the hotel, right? Do I need to take a taxi from the airport? Do I need to take a bus, right? We need to know the end in order to know the journey. Type in a 5 if you're with me, right? In order to know how to get started on any type of trip that you're taking, any type of journey that you're taking, you need to know the end. You need to know the destination. Type in a 5 if you're with me. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. In order for you to know where to start any journey, right? If you're taking a road trip, if you're going on vacation, if you're driving to work for your the first time you're going to a place, you need to know the destination. And so how do you get started? We have to know, where are you headed, okay? And so this young lady got onto a financial strategy session with me. And of course, I started with the end. The end for her was to retire by the time that she's 55, okay? Which is about 20 years from now. And so we said, okay, when you reach 55, right, what type of lifestyle would you like to live? And based on that, we work backwards to see what exactly does she need to do in order to retire at 55, right? And so those of you who are interested, all right, in hopping on a strategy session with me, all right, where we go over your specific financial goal. Because guys, at the end of the day, your goal is different. Lasha's goal is different from Omi's goal, right? Sansan's goals is different from Tisul's goal, right? Ashanti's goal is different from Katiana's goals, right? We want to create a specialized plan for you, because financial freedom means many, many different things for people. So for some people, financial freedom is being able to take care of their basic needs and being able to go to retire in Jamaica or go retire somewhere in the Caribbean. That's their financial freedom. Some people's financial freedom is having a yacht or having a private jet, right? Some people's financial freedom is they can go take a trip with the girls to Europe at any given time. And so everyone's financial freedom is different. And so everyone's plan is going to be different. Type in a 7 if you're with me, okay? And so when you hop on these strategy sessions with me, we are creating a plan specifically for you. Not for some random on the internet, not for some YouTube guru or some copy and paste template, right? It is specifically for you, okay? All right, cool. So let's talk about protecting your wealth, okay? Now, the first step to protecting your wealth is you want to diversify, diversify, diversify. I say this all the time. This is one of my favorite lines to say. I spent $60,000 on my master's degree in finance, and all I learned was diversify, diversify, diversify. Somebody write diversify in the chat, okay? Diversify, 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 okay? So what do I mean? What does that mean, Kat? You say this all the time. You say that one liner all the time, right? Diversify, diversify, diversify. What exactly does that mean? Okay. Well, what it means is you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Okay. Somebody say all your eggs in one basket in the chat. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Those of you who are business owners, right? You would not rely on just one client for all of your sales, right? If you decided, I remember, quick story, by the way, right? I remember at one of these networking events in Miami, okay? I met the founder of Creole Essence. Creole Essence is this Haitian black castor oil company. They have like beauty products, to use. They use black castor oil in a whole bunch of things that they use, their creams and so on and so forth. So I met the founder there, and at the time I was still doing my first business where I import jewelry from West and East Africa. Those of you always commenting on my jewelry and my cool earrings and stuff like that, right? So the reason why my earrings and my jewelry is always so cool is because that was my first business. Okay, I used to supply jewelry, handmade jewelry. But anyways, so I was telling her about my story, and I was telling her that I was a little bit discouraged. Okay, I felt like I felt like, I wasn't getting anywhere. I felt like there was no growth. And she basically told me the story. She said, our first year in business, we did about $156,000. The very next year, we did almost 250K. And the third year, we lost our number one client, and our sales dropped to $36,000, right? Guys, could you imagine only relying on one main client for the life of your entire business, right? And so it's the same thing with your investments. You do not want to rely on just one type of investment for the life of your entire investment portfolio. Type in an 8 if that makes sense. Type in a 0 if I lost you, okay? And so you do not want to rely on just one type of investment for your entire investment portfolio. As a matter of fact, you want to have a little bit of real estate. You want to have a little bit of stocks. You want to have a little bit of bonds, mutual funds, right? Alternative investments. Now, this is not me giving you investment advice, right? This is me educating you on different strategies you can use to protect your wealth. You do not put all of your wealth in one basket. A lot of you guys, especially those of you who are business owners, right? You're just banking on your business to be the one thing that builds you wealth. Although, yes, your business has infinite income potential, but if you're just banking on that one thing to make you wealthy, right? Well, you're in for a treat, right? You have no protection. What happens if you cannot work your business? What happens if you have to have surgery? What happens if you have a child or a life-changing event? What happens if you need time to grieve, right? Life happens. We like to think that we're going to be this young and healthy and our life is going to stay the same and the same people around us are always going to be alive. But at the end of the day, we know that people pass away. People that we care about pass away, right? We know that the body is sometimes needs to be to rest. Okay, it's either your body, you give your body the rest that it needs, or your body forces you to rest. Okay, I don't need to say any more than that. We know that there are things that happen. There are things that we cannot see, all right, that happen, and so we want to protect our wealth from all of these things. And one of the easiest ways to do so is to diversify, diversify, diversify. Type in a 9 in the chat if that's clear. Kat, what do you mean by diversify? How do I diversify, right? Well, you want to have different types of investments, okay? Now, you have traditional investments and you have, somebody's trying to call me. Every time I do a live, somebody tries to call me. I'm on the live. I can't talk to you. You got to get on the live and type in your question, okay? I cannot talk to you. I'm on the live, okay? All right, so whoever tried to call me, okay, I'm on a live. I cannot talk to you right now. Okay, anyways, right? You have traditional investments and you have alternative investments. You have stocks, you have bonds, right? Mutual funds, ETFs, right? Although CDs are not considered investments, but they are ways to grow your money. You could grow your money through a high yield savings account. And then there's alternative investments, right? Such as real estate, right? Such as investing in private businesses, such as cryptocurrency. So there are many, many, many ways to diversify your investments, okay? And so one little quick gem for you, if you need a little help with your research, you can go on Chat GPT, or those of you who know how to use artificial intelligence, or just use Google and say, what are some different ways I can diversify my investments? What are some different investments out there that I can get into? Okay, type in a 9 if that makes sense, type in a 0 if I lost you. The second way to protect your wealth, right, will be through insurance, right? Think about it, guys. This is something that we love to run away from. I remember I saw a post, somebody said, oh, insurance is a scam. Okay, is it though? Right? Is it though? Is it really a scam? What exactly makes it a scam? The fact that you're making sure that if something were to happen, that that whatever it is that you're insuring doesn't lose its value. Is that what it is, right? Think about all the types of insurances that you have. Most of you have insurance on your phone. This is $1,000. This is $1,000 object, right? $1,000 object. Most of you have insurance on your phone. Why? Why do you have insurance on your phone? Most of you have insurance on your house. Most of you have insurance on your tires. Most of you have warranties on your TVs, on your kitchen gadgets, right? And so why do you even have insurance? Somebody talk to me in the chat. What is the point of insurance, right? Is to protect the value of whatever it is that you bought. I'm going to say that again. Is to protect the value of what it is that you bought. And so I'm not here to force insurance down your throat. I'm here to open your eyes to see things a little differently, right? To prioritize things a little bit differently. Think about what is your greatest asset. What is an asset? An asset is something that can make you money, something that will grow your money. You are your greatest asset. If you are no longer present, right, because of whatever it is, whether that's death, okay, there's life insurance for that, or whether that's through sickness. And sickness doesn't need to be something physical. It could also be something mental, right? And so if you are not able to work for whatever the reason is, whether it's something mental, whether it's something like grieving, for example, right? Maybe you just need a mental break. Maybe you need a vacation. Maybe you need some time off, or maybe you need a leave of absence, right? Or maybe it's something physical where you cannot work. How are you protecting your money from your sickness? Talk to me in the chat, right? Type in a 10 if you're with me. And so insurance is about protecting your wealth. There are two things you can count on in this life: death and taxes. I'm going to repeat that. There are two things you can count on in this lifetime. You will always have to pay some sort of taxes, and one day you will no longer be here. So why not protect your wealth from those two things? And there's a third thing. Not everybody gets sick. Some people, they live, a nice, healthy lifestyle, and they never really get sick, and they die of just in their sleep. They die of old age. That's it, right? But most people, right? Most people, especially within our community, right? We fall victim to diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problems. Type in an 11 if you're with me, all right? Diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart problems. And so what are you doing to protect yourself from this, okay? That's number one. And what are you doing to protect your wealth from this? And so this is where insurance comes into play. Now, there are many, many, many different types of insurance, okay? There's life insurance, there's health insurance, there's disability insurance, right? One of the things, for example, my father, he had life insurance with his job, but before he passed away, he was disabled. He could not work. And so because he could not work, he no longer qualified for the life insurance from his job, okay? And so there are times where there are worse things out there than death. I'm going to repeat that. There are things out there that are worse than death. And so if we're not thinking about these things now as we're building wealth, right? We don't want to be taken by surprise if something happens to us out of nowhere, okay? Which brings me to the third part. the third way of protecting your wealth. Okay. The first one we talked about was diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't rely on just one type of investment to grow your wealth. You want to have multiple ways of increasing your wealth, right? Multiple types of investments. Number two, insurance, whether that's life insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, any type of insurance, or a combination of all three. Okay. You want to make sure that you protect your most valuable asset, which is you. Number three, estate planning. This one is the main one for our community, right? For the most part, most of our community understands diversification, right? We get that, Cat. We're not going to put all our eggs in one basket, okay? The second one, insurance, life insurance. For the most part, most of us understand the importance of life insurance, right? So, some of us haven't taken action, and that's okay. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to help you fix it. Okay? I told this to one of my clients. I'm not here to shame you. Shame doesn't help anything. Okay? You do enough of that beating yourself up. You beat yourself up enough. You don't need me to do it for you. Okay? So what I'm here is to bring in the forgiveness part. I'm here to bring in the patience and the understanding and the solution. How are we going to fix this? Okay? Anyways, right? So and some of you haven't taken action with the insurance. That's okay, but I'm planting that seed. It is important, right? But the estate planning, this is the problem here, right? How many of you guys, type in a 3 in the chat, if you have experienced what happens when a pillar, when someone who is in a big pillar, how many of you guys have experienced the death of someone very important in your family? Talk to me in the chat. Type in a 3 in the chat. How many of you have experienced the death of someone very important in your family? I'm not trying to say that this person's more important than that person. I'm talking about the grandma, right? I'm talking about the grandpa. I'm talking about the one the one whose death affected so many different people. The auntie, the uncle, right? That person. And how many of you have witnessed what happens after that person's death? The ugliness that happens. Type in a 3 if you're with me. All right. I listen. That's one thing I told, I have to be careful not to use these big bank names. I know I dropped the name already, but I have to be careful until everything is signed on the dotted line. I can't be dropping people's names like that. But the big bank that I'm working with right now, okay, one of the things I told them is I am part of the community. So if you want to connect to this community, I'm not an outsider. I'm inside the community. So I'm going to say the same thing to you. I'm in this with you. Okay. I have experienced someone very important, a pillar in the family's death. And I've seen the ugliness that happens afterwards. And mind you, these people in my family didn't have millions of dollars of assets. Could you imagine if that same person had millions of dollars in assets? Could you imagine, right? It is very, very, very ugly. People that are supposed to come together are somehow enemies, right? People are fighting for this land and this piece of money and this and that. And people are greedy. People want a piece of this. People want a piece of that. It can get really ugly. And so if you're, and imagine at a smaller scale, usually it's like everybody fighting for that one house. Or everybody fighting for that little, $20,000 life insurance final expense. Or everybody is fighting for that, for a little bit of assets. Imagine when you build the type of wealth that's going to free your family. Imagine the ugliness that will be on the other side when you're no longer around. I'm going to repeat that. Imagine when you build the type of wealth that's going to liberate your family. Imagine the ugliness that will be on the other side of that when you're no longer here. And so my warning to you is we want to set the foundation now, right? We want to take our estate planning seriously. Just like the young lady said, she said, Kat, you need to talk to people about estate planning. Faut nous protéger bien nous. All my Haitians in the building, right? Faut nous protéger bien nous. C'est pas si t'as acheté un paquet bien, et puis la fini nous pas faire rien avec lui, et puis la mourir, et puis un peu moun ap chita fight. Let me get back to English, right? Of fighting for these assets, fighting for your stuff, right? We have to protect our assets from death now. There are two things in life that are for certain: death and taxes. And so we must prepare for both of them. Kat, what does that look like? Number one, you want to have a living will. Okay? A living wheel. English is not my first or second language, all right? Be patient with me, all right? Well, Kat, you've been here forever, I know, but I go back and forth between 3 different languages, so bear with me, okay? All right? And so you want to have a living will. Kat, I don't know how to get one. I have an estate planning attorney on my team. Get on a call with me. Let me drop the link already, all right? Guys, I have a team. It's not just me. I can't do this alone. I cannot do this alone. There's no way I could do this alone. And so when you work with me, you get access to my entire network. You don't just get access to me. I stay in my lane, right? I'm not an estate planning attorney, nor do I want to be, nor am I going to pretend to be, but I have estate planning attorneys on my team for my clients, right? And so if you need those resources, don't be afraid to reach out to me. A young lady reached out to me. She asked me a question about getting a loan on her house. And then we got on a call. Next thing you know, now we're working together. Okay. So don't be afraid to reach out to me. I have a network of professionals here to help you build your wealth, protect your wealth. Okay. All right. So you want to have a living will, right? You want this will to explain exactly what you want to see happen. Let me put it down, right? Estate planning. Right? You want to have a living will. You want to have a will that's going to explain exactly what you want to see happen to your assets, to your wealth if you're no longer around, right? This will also have a power of attorney, okay? If you're not able to work, if you're not able to make your own decisions. I remember when my grandma was in the middle of passing away. Guys, here's what happens, right? We think that we're going to be this young and healthy forever. Right? We think that we're just going to work and be like this, right? And then one day just boom, die. That's what we think, right? That's what we like to tell ourselves. But in reality, that's not what happens. In reality, what happens is we slowly deteriorate. And I hate to be so morbid about it, okay? Right? Usually we slow down a little bit. And some people, they start to lose, they're not able to think for themselves. We have to be realistic when it comes to these things. No, you're not going to be like this, young, healthy, and then boom, one day you're done. No, that's not how it works, right? And so you want to have a power of attorney, someone who's going to represent you in case you're not able to talk, in case you're not able to make your own decisions. Type in a 7 if you're with me. This is important stuff, guys, okay? Hi, Katrina, right? Type in a 7 if you're with me. Okay, you want to have a power of attorney, someone to make decisions, right? You want to have an estate plan. An estate plan. Kat, what is an estate plan? Now, I am going to have an estate planning attorney who's going to be here, who's going to teach you all of this stuff, and I'm going to have its own live. But for the sake of just explaining the idea, right? So just at least you know the general idea, okay? So an estate, right? An estate is basically a transfer of all the things that you own after death, right? All the things you own. So a lot of you are planning on being wealthy. So you're going to have real estate. You're going to have businesses. You're going to have stocks. You're going to have bonds. You might have a little bit of crypto, right? You might have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? And so you want to put that into an estate plan that's going to show, that's going to tell the people that are your beneficiaries, the people that inherit this wealth, exactly where to put what, who gets what, okay? Son number 1 gets this, son number 2 gets that, daughter number 3 gets this, right? The dog gets this. Type in a 7 if you're with me, okay? And so the estate plan is telling your beneficiaries, the people that you leave your wealth to, beneficiary, or the people that inherit your wealth, right? What goes where, right? Who gets what goes where, all right? And then a trust. You want to have some sort of trust. And the trust is basically you're taking all of your assets and you're putting it into a third party. It's a way to separate yourself from your assets. This is able to protect you from lawsuits, right? Some tax benefits, and so on and so forth. Again, I am not an estate planning attorney. I am here to plant the seed, to give you the general information so that you know what to ask. Because sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. And so if you don't know about a trust, if you don't know about an estate plan, if you don't know about a power of attorney, if you don't know about a will, you don't know how to ask about it. Type in a 7 if you're with me, okay? And so 4 main ways. Oh, I forgot the taxes, okay? So far, We talked about diversification, okay? Diversify, diversify, diversify. Just like you wouldn't count on one thing to make all your money, you definitely don't want to count on just one type of investment. Number two, we talked about the power of insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, all sorts of insurance, because there are worse things out there than death. The last thing you want to do is to have to liquidate all of your investments because you got sick. Okay. Number three, estate planning. This is where we are protecting our wealth for when we are no longer here. There are two things in life that you can always count on: death and taxes. So why not protect yourself from both of them? Okay. And number four, taxes. Guys, it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. Talk to me in the chat. Somebody said, it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. How much you keep. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. If you're going to make $1 million and you have to pay Uncle Sam 39%, you did not make $1 million. If you're going to make $1 million and you have to give 40% to Uncle Sam, you did not make $1 million. Talk to me in the chat if you're with me. Type in an 8 if you're with me, right? If you made $1 million and you have to give $400,000 of it to Uncle Sam, you did not make $1 million. And so a lot of us, and us is me, all right, guilty, focus on making money. I got to make this money. I'm going to make this money. I'm going to make this money. I'm going to make this money. I'll worry about the taxes later, until you get that big tax bill and you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I owe the IRS how much? Oh, I didn't even think that was possible. At one point, this was my salary. At one point, this is how much I used to make a year. You mean I got to pay the IRS that much? Right? And so you don't want to get a surprise tax bill. And so those of you who are business owners out there, you're making six figures. Those of you who this is your first six-figure job, right? Those of you working in tech, and my nurse practitioners out there, my physicians, my attorneys, my C-level executives out there making $250K, $300K, getting company bonuses. You don't want that surprise tax bill. That's number one. Number two, your investments. When you start working with me, right? Those of you who work with me, your stocks are going to grow. That's one thing I know, right? You work with me, you follow my strategies, you're going to make money. Okay. And you're going to make a lot of money. All right. And I can say that with confidence because I've been doing this for quite some time. And every single one of my clients who follow my strategy, they make money. And so you're going to make money. And so when you get that tax bill, when you get that TD Ameritrade statement, when you get that Fidelity 1099 form, that TD Ameritrade, that Charles Schwab, that Robinhood 1099 form, guess what? You're going to have to pay taxes on that. And so if you are not protected for your taxes right now in the beginning of your wealth, right, what's going to happen is taxes are going to eat up most of your wealth. And so you want to protect yourself from taxes. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it. Let me go to the comment sections. Okay. And so we had a couple of Sharika. Hey, Sharika, how are you, Queen? Nice to see you. Okay. Eve Marie says, I'd like to learn more about trust. Eve Marie, if you're still on the live, click on the link I just provided and book your strategy session with me. All right. If it's a good fit, if you and I, it makes sense to work together, I will connect you to my estate planning attorney. Those who come directly from me, they get special pricing, right? Or you can always do it on your own. At least you'll get the information. Okay. But yes, absolutely. She helps you establish a trust, establish a living will, and an estate plan. Absolutely. Okay. Sharika says, imagine going to the doctor for a routine visit and learning that you've been diagnosed with a chronic illness that doesn't take you out, but forces you to be able to unable to earn money ever again. The only thing that supports you is this estate plan. Oof. Thank you, Sharika. Sharika is actually can you post that in my Facebook group, Queen? Right? You're a group expert. The floor is yours, Queen. All right. The people want this information and they want to work with you. All right. Remember, I don't compete with anybody. We collaborate. I can't do this alone. I can't do it alone. There's no way. Number one, my personality doesn't fit with everyone. Some people don't like my tone. They say, Kat, you're a little too aggressive. You're a little too, well, guess what? That's the white bar on Wall Street. They don't care. They'll talk to you any type of way. They'll cuss at you. They'll look at you crazy and all that. Okay. And so listen, my tone doesn't work with everybody, but maybe they'll work better with Sharika or with anybody else in the group. Okay. So it's not just me. Please, guys, reach out to people. Right? I'm here to expand your mind. I'm here to plant the seed to help you know things that you didn't know existed, so that you know the right questions to ask. So Sharika, please post that in the group and tell the people, right? You are absolutely right. We like to think that we're going to be this young and healthy forever. I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm trying to be realistic. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Anybody else? All right. All right. So what questions did you have? What was your biggest takeaway from this live? Okay. Omi Yemi says the arguments that came out, right? Yes. My dad. Yes. I lost my father as well. Woo, and did I see the ugliness? Wait, did I see the ugliness? That's exactly why I got into this business. I'll tell that story another time. But the reason why I started my career in finance was because I saw the ugliness that happened after my father's death. And I saw it again after my grandmother's death. And I was like, all right, enough is enough. Enough is enough. We need to do something about this. Okay. So thank you guys for being vulnerable. Thank you for your participation. Again, those of you, somebody says, Ashley L says she's coming back. She's coming back. Okay, Queen. Yes, come back for the replay. That's right, Queen, right? Rachel says how much to keep, right? Again. So let's review. We talked about diversification. We talked about insurance. We talked about estate planning, and we talked about taxes. And one of the main things was it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. It doesn't make sense if you're going to make $1 million and you've got to pay $400,000 in taxes. You didn't make $1 million, okay? As a matter of fact, you made $600,000, and that's probably before your expenses. So once you minus your expenses, you really probably just made $200,000. Let's be real, okay? And so we want to be aware of these things. All right, so I made this live a little longer than 30 minutes, okay? But we covered a lot of different things. Now, I will do a live specifically on diversification. I will do a live specifically on insurance, specifically on estate planning, specifically on taxes. But this was a general introduction of ways to protect your wealth. All right. I don't see any other questions, comments, or observations. I will see you next week, 6:30. So I've been playing around with the times. Last week I went live at 8:30. I had so many people show up. Okay. This week I did 6:30. I have about the average of that I usually get. So I'm going to try again around 8:30 next week and see before I make a final decision on the times that I go live. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a good night. Bye. Thank you, Omi. Bye, sweetie. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.